Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about how to use the Eisenhower Matrix to prioritize your work. Most people, just need more time working on how to prioritize what matters. They have tasks everywhere, notifications coming in, messages waiting, bills due, work responsibilities, business ideas, content ideas, family needs, health goals, and financial decisions all competing for attention at the same time. This is a great reason to use the Eisenhower Matrix. The Eisenhower Matrix is a simple decision-making framework that helps you separate your work into 4 categories. First, important and urgent. Second, important but not urgent. Third, urgent but not important. Fourth, not urgent and not important. You just got to keep it simple. And when you actually use the Eisenhower Matrix, it changes how you look at your calendar, your business, your money, and your daily routine. The goal is to get the right things done. Really, you need to think about productivity the same way you think about investing. You need a process. You need discipline. You need risk control. And you need to stop making emotional decisions. Plan everything out. Your calendar should prove your priorities. Now let's take a quick look at quadrant 1. Important and urgent. The first category, these are things that matter and need attention now. This might include a deadline, a bill due today, a family issue, a health situation, a client problem, a work shift, a business issue, or a financial decision that can't wait. These tasks deserve immediate attention because there is a real consequence if they are ignored. But here's something to always remember. If too much of your life lives in quadrant 1, you're probably operating in reaction mode. That means you're always putting out fires. You're always behind. You're always responding instead of building. Some urgent and important things are unavoidable in life, work, and with your family. But a lot of urgency is created by lack of planning. So you always want to plan ahead. An hour's worth of planning is worth a day's worth of work. So planning is key. I always ask, could this have been prevented with better planning? That question matters. Now, quadrant 2, important but not urgent. This is the most valuable category. Important but not urgent work is where long-term progress is built. This includes things like investing research, content creation, business planning, health routines, relationship building, reading, networking, skill development, systems, weekly planning, financial reviews, and strategic thinking. This is the work that quietly determines the direction of your life. These are the things that compound. This is why quadrant 2 gets protected on your calendar. For me, this includes blocks like market news, portfolio research, content creation, business operations, networking, personal administration, health, and review time. You got to remember that if it's not on the calendar, it is only an intention. So always make sure everything's already pre-planned on a calendar. A simple rule is protect quadrant 2 before quadrant 1 takes over. Now let's go on to quadrant 3, urgent but not important. These are tasks that feel pressing, but they do not meaningfully move your life, business, health, or finances forward. Examples include random messages, unnecessary calls, notifications, small requests, and tasks that feel productive but are not truly strategic. Something can be urgent to someone else and still not be the best use of my time. You got to always remember to protect your time. The key question for quadrant 3, does this require me right now? If the answer is no, it probably should not control the day. Quadrant 4, not urgent and not important. This is the distraction category. It includes scrolling, random videos, low value apps, and anything that burns time without giving a real return. You always want to look at the ROI at something. What's my return on investment? No matter what it is on your schedule. I'd go through your entire day and see what you're truly getting back for your time. You always want to track your time and have a schedule. That's really key here, just so you stay on track and stay productive. Now, a quick key is let's take a quick look at how I actually use the matrix. When I look at my task list, I ask 4 questions. Is this important? Does it connect my real priorities? Is this urgent? Does it need attention now? Does this belong on my calendar? Does it need a protected time block? And does this need to be done by me? Or can it be delegated, delayed, automated, or deleted? Now, the last question is important because productivity is not just about effort, it's about decision quality. Some tasks need action, some tasks need planning, some tasks need boundaries, and some tasks need to be removed completely. The Eisenhower Matrix gives me a way to decide instead of guessing. You can take a quick look at a simple weekly planning process. Here's a quick way to use this during a weekly planning session. First, write down everything on your mind: business tasks, work tasks, family responsibilities, investing research, content ideas, bills, health items, errands, follow-ups. Then sort each item into the 4 quadrants. After that, schedule quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 first. Quadrant 1 gets handled because it has real consequence. Quadrant 2 gets protected because it builds the future. Quadrant 3 gets reduced, delegated, or batched. Quadrant 4 gets limited. That is the process. Simple, repeatable, and honest. And that matters because a good productivity system is key. It should help you make better decisions when motivation, whether you have a lot of motivation on something or not. Not everybody's the same. Some people have ambition for days, and a lot of us are in the FIRE movement, as far as investing, always investing in your future and using multiple revenue streams to create generational wealth. Other people may not be as motivated. That's why systems are key to long-term success. You can look at the 3 scenarios. You can use it consistently. If you use the Eisenhower Matrix every week, your schedule becomes clearer. You spend more time with high-value work, reduce distractions, handle deadlines earlier, and protect time for business, health, investing, and relationships. That is where compounding starts. Some people will use it occasionally. If you use it occasionally, it still helps. You regain control during busy weeks, but you may still fall back into reactive patterns when you stop reviewing your priorities. And clearly, there's a lot there to be gained whether you use it regularly, or obviously the more consistent you are, the more productive you'll be. The Eisenhower Matrix teaches One big lesson: not everything deserves the same level of attention. Some things need action now. Some things need protected planning. Some things need boundaries. Some things need to be deleted. That is why I like this framework. It is a practical way to make better decisions with your time. And the better you get at prioritizing your time, the better you get at building your life. You know, time management is also about ownership. It's about deciding what matters before the day even starts. You know, get ahead of the entire week, the entire month, the entire year, or you're just overall planning. You know, the further out you plan, the more successful you'll be. You know, you can plan your entire decade out, your career. You know, everything should definitely be analyzed and reviewed every few months at the very least. You know, you want to be consistent and be on the right trajectory. So this week, look at your task list and ask, what is urgent and important? What is important but not urgent? What is urgent but not truly important? And what needs to be removed? Then put the right things on your calendar, because your calendar should prove your priorities. If you want to build more discipline with your time, start by sorting your tasks into the 4 Eisenhower Matrix categories today. And if you want more practical systems for productivity, money, investing, and long-term wealth building, follow Josh DeLozier Investments. Build the system first. The results follow the system. Appreciate everyone watching this video. Please come back next week and watch our latest video on productivity. Also, we'll have another video on stock investing, so be sure to check those out. Hope everyone has an amazing week.